Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News. The last chance qualifier begins today. One very important team has been greenlit and has been confirmed to be joining after being on the waitlist for quite some time. But also Zekken giving his response to the Sentinel situation and the fact that he's very confident indeed in their performance going forwards. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Loads of new support over the last couple of days. Quickly on G2, 3 former Sentinels members, Danny, ShahZaM and dapr, now all spotted kind of as part of this situation. Not sure why ShahZaM is playing against dapr in this particular setup, but whatever the case is, Danny is probably here, former kind of analyst for the Sentinels guys, now joining alongside G2, we believe. Now, thanks to all those of you who point out to me the scrim scores and the Scrimbux and all this type of stuff that we see over the last couple of days. These are some examples here from Net's stream last night. We can see SR, that Shopify Rebellion, one team confirmed by the automatic invitations into challenges. They are now joined by DSG, Disguised Toast team. I believe Toast actually said on stream last night that he's paying these guys each like 5k plus per month. I think some of them might be getting almost 10k a month, which is a very good salary if you think about it for a tier 2 team. And I think initially he said that his kind of total budget for the year was like 300k. Now it's paying like 500k for it. So yeah, I mean obviously it's paid off for them, which is great to see. They they delivered the results. They made it through to challenges, and some other teams that are making it will probably already or also be signed. We'll see in a second with Dark Ratio. But yeah, this is one kind of scrim set between a team that just qualified through the first qualifier and one team that was automatically invited. There's also Pancakes, Kanpeki and Raucus. This team will be competing, I suppose, in the last chance qualifier. They were down 12-4 to NRG. And then also this one between 100 Thieves and this FS team that I'm not too familiar with, but they were up 15-3 in this set of scrims. And as I say every time, they don't play to 13 here. They just play until all 24 rounds have been completed in the scrim. Now, speaking of some teams that have qualified, Dark Ratio, they made it through taking down the Nation, right? And well, now they've apparently signed some sort of contract. Moonchopper here is the coach of that team, and now they've made it into challenges. I can totally understand that there's probably many organizations that have been in discussion with these guys before to say, hey, if you qualify, we're going to sign you as our team, because these guys aren't just going to turn up to challenges with no organization to represent. Orgs will want to sign these guys. There are a lot of eyeballs on tier 2 Valorant right now, and for good reasons. So they've probably signed a contract with some organization. Now, whether an organization, like, I don't think this is going to be OpTic or anything, but I know that some have said, like, are OpTic ever going to come back into Valorant, right? Is that a possibility? Because they could, of course, sign a tier 2 team, try and qualify through challenges, but, I mean, the realistic thing is that if you're G2, if you're the Guard, if you're one of these teams, FaZe even, you're going to build a competitive team that can make things happen. If OpTic wanted to do that, they'd have had to make that intention clear by now, because otherwise there's effectively no hope of actually making it through to Ascension and winning the whole thing. Now, the team that Dark Ratio beat to qualify a few days ago was, of course, the Nation, that team of Stewie2K that now is going to compete this weekend. We thought the Stew was just going to dip out and not bother anymore, but thankfully that's not the case, and he will be competing, and they will be trying in the LCQ, which begins today, January the 17th, and finishes in about 5 days' time, I think, on the 23rd, or the, well, I guess 6 days' time. 23rd is when the final team is confirmed. So, yes, lots of matches are going to go on today and over the coming days, and then there's going to be a winner's bracket game that I guess the winner is going to get confirmed on the 22nd. That team will qualify, and then on the 23rd, I think the final team qualifies out of all the 12 teams that are going to be in challenges. Now, one of the teams that is competing here is Sinatra's team. So this is Sinatraa, Prod, and Marved, and Zoms is also there as well. And this guy, is it Dizzy or something that's like stepping into that team as well? So, I mean, look, Marved has obviously been joking around about this, return to competitive, he says, believing they're not going to be so competitive. And Marved, I believe, is in like Jamaica right now on holiday. So I don't really understand how this team is going to be competitive at all. But nonetheless, it's still entertaining to think about. And as Prod confirms last night, the deals are on, games at 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So we'll see. Games begin tonight for Prod and Co. And we'll see how they get on, because like I think they were on the wait list to actually get in, because they signed up so late. They weren't even guaranteed to actually get in, because there's only a certain amount of teams that can, I guess, go into the open bracket, because they can't just have infinite teams. I'm pretty sure like anyone can sign up as long as you were early enough to sign up. But thankfully they made it through the wait list. They got onto it officially, and yeah, they will be playing. I think their seed is like maybe the 10th seed or something, because they've obviously got Marved, who's going to have a fair, I'm guessing he's going to have quite a lot of points from last season. Maybe Zoms as well from his brief time on Sentinels might have some points as well. Not exactly sure, but they have a decent seeding, but it's not a phenomenal seeding. So if they do make a decent run, they will play a decent team quite early on. And I mean, look, we'll see. These guys are all over the place geographically, location-wise, and also I'm sure there's like no no practice, there's no strat, it's just pure content, baby. So, you know, they could get beaten by pretty much anyone, I think, in this bracket, but there was a slim outside chance that the talent they have on the team carries them quite far here. I guess we'll see that in action tonight, and I felt kind of bad here for Addison and some others because, you know, disqualified from the LCQ because someone forgot to provide the correct info. So there are people that were in and ready to go, but then, you know, for various reasons, miscommunication, they got kicked out, and therefore now Sinatraa team is in instead. So, you know, it is what it is, but kind of unfortunate to see the way that went down. Let's talk Sentinels then, because obviously a big talking point of this past weekend was the Ludwig Tarek Invitational that Sentinels didn't make the grand finals of. They lost to the Garden of best of 1 in the winners finals. They then lost to TSM 2-0 in the loser side, and that went out of the tournament in 3rd place to 2 challenger teams, you could say. Now, Zekken gave his thoughts on this because obviously they were very new to competing, and he reckons that actually they were looking pretty good. He was actually impressed with how they performed. He thought they did better than he expected them to do, which is, you know, pretty good signs for Sentinels. Sassy also says that he wasn't really too comfortable with Split, and Dephh was having to micromanage them a lot because he had no idea what to do, which is kind of fair enough because Loud were never a team that particularly liked Split, to be honest, when it was in the map pool. That was, of course, in their series up against the Guard, the best of 1 that they played there. And also Sean Gare saying that from his understanding and from his perspective, this team is disgusting, is going to be incredibly good. And just because Dephh is more of a tactical IGL, because they've got no set strats ready yet, that's what was holding them back. But they will be very good going forward, especially with TenZ in his prime, as Sean Gare seems to believe that he still is.
Language barriers still noticeable testing Mankata? No. They got very good at English very fast. Biggest takeaway from the Ludwig Tarek Invitational? That we need more practice, but that we're a lot... I think as a team we're a lot better, or we did a lot better at that tournament than I thought we would. I expected us to like the bed because it was the first tournament and because we only had a week of practice, but we played well. I'm proud of us for that. When is Pancada and Saucy alive? Do they speak Portuguese? Only when they're clutching. And it feels like a fucking cheat code when dude they get in a 2v something and they just
nice round, guys.
Talk in Portuguese and so fast and then they just win and it feels like a cheat code.
Match found.
Do you use delay on string?
Like a couple seconds. Yeah,
Nice.
just a couple seconds. Nothing
Okay.
too crazy.
I hate this map.
Really?
Yeah. You know, we played Split against Dick Ward, and Dephh was IGLing me all the time because I didn't know what to do. Me and Pancada were so lost.
I mean, the vision I have in my head is this: I know what Don and Dephh have done to XSET, like how strategic XSET was when we played against them in scrims and matches. And they will do that again for the Sentinels team. Like, Rory is a tactical in-game leader. Unfortunately, he had like a week to work with. So a tactical in-game leader is calling strats, team with no strats. And that's like a nightmare. I then saw like Pancada be like probably one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world. Oh, wow, die. I think Saucy's incredible. I just think that team is stacked. I'm gonna be honest, like, they are really good. TenZ obviously looks like he's in like some of the best form in his entire career.
So interesting perspective there from Zekken and the rest of the guys on the potential of that Sentinels team. Definitely some confidence that they are going to continue to perform going forwards. And even TenZ says here, thought was kind of interesting because apparently he changes his sensitivity a lot. So he's playing on, I guess this is 800 DPI and then 0.3 in-game sense for the entire year, tweeting so I can be held accountable, so flame me if I switch it. So, you know, TenZ is definitely committed here. And maybe that's kind of implied by the coaches as well, because Sean Gez is also suggesting, not sure if I quite shared the clip there, but he was like, you know, the coaches of that team, they did a great job establishing a tactical setup over there at XSET. They were so consistent and in such a good routine. And maybe it's one of those things they've told TenZ, look, no changing your sense this year. You choose a sense and you stick with it so you can make sure the muscle memory is down. Absolutely guaranteed for the year, which is probably good advice, to be honest, because changing your sense all the time is probably not for the best, but I don't really know all the physiology behind stuff like that. Now, Marvin, of course, is going to play in this tourney. Obviously, he wanted wanted to join Sentinels, or maybe still want to join Sentinels, depending on how they perform this season. One quick thing from Chet as well, the coach of NRG, to mention, most OP agents on East map, he says Harbor. Now, obviously, Harbor, during the open qualifiers, I think it was actually from the round on 32, or the round of 32 and beyond, Harbor had a 0% pick rate. The only agent to match Harbor on a 0% pick rate was Chamber, who also wasn't picked at all. So, you know, Chet, like, clearly believes, either he's just joking here and believes the Harbor is indeed terrible, which I think is probably true for part of this, but I think that he's also mentioned in the past that there are some strats that they are playing around with that do involve Harbor. So, I mean, look, we'll see if he's actually useful. We'll see if a team decides to use him, because we saw in the past that the first teams that adopted Fade, the first teams that adopted Neon, certainly Chamber as well, because it took Sentinels a long time to adapt to the Chamber meta, really. Like, they were the teams that had the success early on in the new meta, and yes, Harbor might not be a dominant agent at all by any means, but there's a possibility that LNG are working on something special here for Harbor to be involved in, that Chet has implied a couple of times. But very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, take care, and I'll see you next time.